Welcome to Birdseeds. Thank you guys so much for listening to today's episode. I really appreciate it. We're going to talk about something that my philosophy in sales that I've been using for years and years and years, but sort of the realization that yes, it's effective in sales and you should use it there, but it's actually kind of an intentionality that you can take to every aspect of life. And it's really just slowing down to focus on what am I trying to get out of this exact thing I'm trying to do in this exact moment. Not trying to get from A to Z, but understanding that to get from A to Z, I got to get to B and C and D and so forth, right? So it's super effective in how I sort of developed into my head on sales, and we're going to talk about that. But then I want to talk about how we can apply it elsewhere. So let's just jump right into the sale. So you get a lead, you get an inquiry, you get some sort of, reason to contact somebody. I'm always immediately going to pick up the phone and try to make some kind of human-to-human interaction connection with that person. I think that's super important. There's varying philosophies on should you leave a voicemail, should you hang up and send a text, like how if you don't get them on the phone. Obviously, the hope is that you get them on the phone, speed the lead, they're motivated to do something in that moment. Let's get them. And hopefully make a connection and build rapport and so on and so forth. But if you don't, I personally like to leave a voicemail. Now, why? I'm going to send a text as well, but I believe in NLP, and we've talked about that on a previous episode, but I believe in the power of NLP, that the tonality, the rate of speech, the inflections I can make, the accents I can make on certain parts of the words, I can get more result with that than I can just a simple text message. There's no tonality in text message. If there is, it's often misunderstood or misperceived. So I always leave a message. Hey, thanks again so much for reaching out. I would love to work with you. Let me know some times to chat, whatever it may be, so on and so forth. And then I'm going to go to text matter. At that point, I sort of revert to text follow-up because it's less intrusive. It's, you're going to try to get them at a point where they're able to talk and they're motivated. So the text messages, you're going to call, you're going to text, you're going to email, you're going to do all those things. But what's the point of that? The point of any of this is to make a sale. In my case, to get them to hire me to be their real estate agent to either help them buy a house or sell a house or both. That's the ultimate goal in any of this stuff, right? But I understand that I'm not going to do that over text message. That's not my goal of the text message. It's the ultimate goal, but I know that I can't get there. My goal of a text message is to schedule a phone call. Why a phone call? Because on a phone call, again, I can build rapport. I can use NLP. I can affect more change and increase the likelihood that I can get the sale at the end of the day. And I can also ask them questions. I can learn more about their situation. I can read their tonality to understand, is this an exciting move? Is this a sad move? Where are they coming from in it? What are their motivations, et cetera, et cetera? And I can create that dialogue. And that dialogue builds rapport and, again, furthers that relationship. And the point of that phone call, once you get the phone call scheduled, so the point of the text message is to schedule the phone call. The point of that phone call is to get information, build rapport. It's to set an appointment, right? Now, what's the point of the appointment? The point of the appointment is to make the sale. You're there, you're in front of them. Now it's close, make the sale, make that happen. We cover all that on the sales perch. But that's the point of it, right? It's to point of the text, schedule the call, point of the call, schedule the appointment, point of the appointment, make the sale. I think if you can slow down and understand what you're trying to get out of each one of those things, you'll be way more effective at each one of those things. Now, how does this apply elsewhere in life? How can you use this in other things, right? And I think it's super important. I was talking to somebody about marketing today, and there's a full presentation. There's like a smaller presentation. I was saying, I think the point of the smaller presentation is whet the taste buds to get them to want to see the bigger presentation. The point of the bigger presentation is to is to close the deal, right? So breaking it down in that sense, you could put it in parenthood. I've got two kids. I got two kids that are in travel sports and driving us nuts. You're not going to get them to buy into something that you're trying to do right off Jump Street. You got to get them in baby steps to that. So, the point of, let's say you want to thin out the toys and you want to, do all that. Like, you're not just going to get them to agree to give away a bunch of toys or throw stuff away. Like, that's not going to happen. So you need to set the intention. Hey, because we're getting you this new thing, we got to get rid of this old stuff because there's no more room. And they start that, right? But the point of the point of doing it all is to get them to the end result, to get less stuff. Or I read something the other day that I thought was great, like this holiday, let's go ahead and, put more toys, let's like pack out some old toys so that we can, donate them or we can give them so that they can become new, gifts for other kids that may be less fortunate or so on and so forth. So I think there's some really cool stuff in there, that you can do to kind of move people along, or the kids, or, coworkers, or anybody that you're trying to do. But what is the point of that micro act? And so you have your long-term goal. What micro acts have to happen to get to the long-term goal? And then understanding the point of those micro acts. I think that's super important. It's super effective. It helps me a lot. Intentionality is the word for my year. I think just being intentional with what you're doing is super important. I want to talk about that on an upcoming episode. I'm going to tease a little bit about my scorecard. I'm still fine-tuning it, but I'm really excited about the scorecard concept that I have, and it's really focused on that word for this year, which is intentionality. Thanks so much for listening. Birdseeds with Joe Bird. Have a wonderful day.